In this video, I'm going to go through tasks 3 and 4 of the second AAT sample assessment for AMAC at level 4 on the Q 2022 syllabus. So just sharing the screen. So task 3. This task is about flexed budgets and standard costing. Y Limited has introduced flexible budgeting. The assumptions used in the budget were sales and materials variable. Revised budget at an activity level of 8,000 units showed labour cost to be 69,400. Might need that for a high-low calculation. Heat, light and power is a stepped cost that goes up every 7,000 units, and production is a fixed cost. And we have got to complete the flexed budget for September using minus signs to indicate adverse variances. Right, so this looks relatively straightforward. Right, so flexing the budget for sales, we do 176,250 divide by 7,500 times by the 9,000 units that we've actually produced. That will give us a sales variance, just the difference between those two numbers. It's favourable because we've sold more than we budgeted. Materials is also variable, so we take the original budget figure, divide by 7,500, multiply it by 9,000. And this time we've spent more than we budgeted, so we've got an adverse variance. And then labour, what do we know about labour? So this is the one where it looks as if we've got to do the high-low method. So comparing 8,000 units at a total cost of 69,400 with the original budget, 7,500 with a cost of 65,400. So finding the difference, so that means I've got an extra 500 units, has cost an extra £4,000. So if I do the £4,000 divide by the 500 units, I get £8 per unit, which is my variable cost. Feed that back into one set of data, I've fed it into the high, so I've said £8 times 8,000 units would give me a variable cost of 64,000. And it told me it was 69,400, so the fixed bit must be 5,400. Right, so I've used the high-low, and I've got £8 is the variable cost per unit, and 5,400 is the fixed cost. Right, so then I need to put that information into a 9,000 unit budget. So 9,000 units times £8. And then plus the fixed 5,400 gives me 77,400. The actual is favourable. Sorry, the variance I meant to say is favourable. Right, then we come to heat, light and power. So we know that this is stepped, and we know it steps up every 7,000 units. So the original budget was for 7,500 units. So that means it represents two chunks, two steps. So if two steps cost 24,000, one step obviously costs 12,000. If I then look at my flex budget figure, it's 9,000, so I'm still within those two steps because it changes every 7,000. So I'm okay right up to 14,000 before that cost will change. So actually it's really easy. I just leave it at 24,000, and that means that I have an adverse variance of 3,500. The production overhead is fixed, so that just stays the same. And again, I've overspent, so that's an adverse variance, and it's actually conveniently filled in all the rest for me, so that's good. Identify which three of the following are limitations of flexible budgeting. Right, so flexible budgeting, that's where we've obviously prepared the budget for the actual activity level that was achieved so that we can compare and therefore control our costs. So it focuses only on overhead costs. No, it's got all costs go into the flexible budget. We've just done one up here. It had sales, materials, labour, etc. as well. It can be difficult to split costs into their fixed and variable elements. Yes, it could be. So I'll tick that one for now. It assumes fixed costs are fixed irrespective of the output level. Yes, unless it talks about stepped fixed, then we just leave fixed as fixed, which is quite an assumption to make. So I think it could be that one. It provides a like-for-like comparison based on the actual level of output. Now that's true, but it's not a limitation. So it's not that one. It assumes all costs must start from a zero base. No, that would be zero-based budgeting, so it's not that. That's when you just start from a clean sheet. It assumes all variable costs are linear, irrespective of the output level. Yes, it does. So that's basically saying we don't factor in any adjustment for like bulk buying at higher volumes, for example. So they would be my 3 limitations. Complete the following statement. Flexible budgeting is primarily used, well, it'll be for control, because you're flexing your original budget to what you actually did so that you can compare and see how you did against expectation. And then a system which operates by comparing budgeted results against a forecast, which is in the future. So that would be feed forward. And a system which compares the actual historical results with the budgeted results. That's all in the past. So that would be feedback. So quite a decent task 3 there. No subvariances to be calculated. So we then come on to task 4, so 20 marks, some of which is written. So you can be expecting either 12 or 14 marks out of the 20 to be written in task 4, which is all about different types of costing system. So we start with a calculation. B Limited currently uses a cost plus pricing basis, but now wants to change to target costing for its new products. So cost plus is where you work out how much it costs and then add your required profit to set your price. Whereas target costing comes at it from the other angle. You start off with what you think you can sell it for and you work back to figure out how much you have available to spend on producing the product. A new product is being developed and B Limited has undertaken some market research, which cost £10,000. Well, that's not relevant to the cost of a product because it's market research. It doesn't, it's too far removed from the product itself to be part of their cost. So we can ignore that basically, which has established that based on a sales demand of 5,000 units, a competitive selling price would be £25 per unit. B Limited wants to achieve a margin of 50%. Remember, a margin means the percentage is a percentage of the sales figure. If it did say markup, it would be a percentage of the cost, but I think you're more likely to get margin in this type of question on all new products produced. We've also got this data about the costs, so material R, material S, direct labour, variable overhead, fixed overhead. Calculate the estimated production cost of the new product to 2 decimal places. So really simple. So we're just saying, going down this list and working out the cost. So half a kilo at £5 per kilo is £2.50. Material S, we had 0.3 metres at £15 per metre, so 0.3 times 15. Gives us £4.50. Direct labour, 20 minutes at £9 an hour. So I'll do 20 divided by 60 to convert that to hours, and then times it by 9. £3, or basically a third of an hour worth of cost. The variable overhead, variable overheads are charged at £6 per labour hour, so 20 divided by 60 again, but now times by 6. So that gives us £2. And then fixed overheads at £1.10 per unit. So we just put in £1.10 per unit. And they've written market research there to kind of lead us astray, but as we've already discussed, that is too far removed from the production process to be included as part of the cost of our product. So £13.10. Part B, evaluate, so what's good, what's bad, based on target costing principles, whether B should make and sell the new product. Right, so based on target costing principles, we need to do a little calculation. We think we can sell it for £25, was it? Yep. So £25 we want a 50% margin. So that means that we've got £12.50 of cost available to spend. We've just worked out it's £13.10. So on the face of it, no. £13.10 is more, so what we think it's going to cost is more than our target cost of £12.50. So from a financial point of view, then no. But the question is, how accurate is this cost calculation? Right, so this is the sort of thing that we should be saying. So I started off a paragraph with a selling price set by the market at £25 and required profit margin of 50%. This gives a target cost of £12.50. This is lower than the estimated production cost of £13.10. And based on this data, B Limited should not make and sell the new product. That's not going to get you 6 marks. So you've got to talk about some other stuff. If we look at the mark scheme, part B hasn't given us too much guidance for this one. I'm just looking to see if where are we? No, it hasn't given us too much. It just gives us a list of possible points. So it hasn't sort of broken it down too much. But I would then probably go on and say, however, this is based on an estimated competitive sales price of £25 to generate demand of 5,000 units. If more units were sold, the fixed cost per unit would fall and the product may then become financially viable. Right, so explaining, you know, there's a bit of maneuverability in this. I also added, bearing in mind it's 6 marks, I'm kind of mindful of, you know, 3 short paragraphs is probably what I'm looking for here. B Limited should also consider where this product sits in its portfolio of products. Perhaps it complements other products it makes and sells, and therefore the decision on whether to produce should be mindful of the impact on these other products. All right, so I would probably write something along those lines to get my 6 marks. Then it goes on, part C, explain how value analysis could be applied to aid its cost control of the new product. Right, so we have to know what value analysis is. So value analysis is about analysing the costs incurred in making a product, including materials, labour, and overheads. It is about minimising costs without, this is the key bit, without compromising the product quality, and so still satisfying customer demand. The value and quality must be retained whilst trying to make cost savings. I feel like I'm waffling a bit. 4 marks. Explain how it could be applied by B to aid its cost control of the new product. I feel like I need to say a bit more about the application. So B Limited should undertake a detailed analysis of the costs of materials. I mean, it's a bit repetitive. Labour and overheads being used to make the product, to see if any cost savings can be made. I'm not entirely happy with that answer, but even when I look at their suggested points, theirs is a bit repetitive as well. I'm just salvaging the best I can for 4 marks, trying to say enough. Might only get 2 or 3, but you know, can't get 100 all the time. And then finally, identify 4 benefits that the use of data analytics would bring to their cost management processes for future products. Identify, it's 4 marks, so it's literally a list. You're not going to get marks for going 4 benefits are blah, 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 blah. You can literally just go straight in. You could even number them if you wanted to. So what can we say? Data analytics, so analysing the data bring to the cost management processes. So how will analysing data help them manage their costs? So one way might be that there is enhanced inventory management. Two might be, what else have we got? I mean, I'm just looking at the mark scheme here. We could improve purchasing processes. Number 3, we could make faster decisions. Or number 4, we could do predictive analysis to see how changes might affect the business. Right, so have a think about, use of data analytics. Have something up your sleeve, because technology threads through the whole of this, well, the whole of the new AAT spec. So being prepared for questions on data analytics, artificial intelligence, cloud-based accounting will do you good. All right, so thank you. End of that video.